Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Are there gaps in our system? Yes, there are gaps in our system. It comes from a short-sighted view taken decades ago when we closed mental health institutions and had no backup plan for these people.
Should law enforcement have to do more for homeless people when making an arrest? Is the local jail the right place for the homeless sleeping in the park? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on whether jails are the right place for the homeless in a moment. But first, our top 7 stories at 7, and we begin in Punta Gorda, where the police chief has been fired in the aftermath of that terrible story last year where a woman was killed during a Citizens Academy training exercise. City Manager Howard Koenig says the firing of Chief Tom Lewis is the result of an internal affairs investigation into the death of Mary Knowlton. Koenig says evidence shows the department didn't consistently follow standard safety protocols when conducting citizen police training programs.
What I found was a non-standardized approach that created unnecessary risk for everyone involved.
Officer Lee Cole, who actually fired the shot that killed Knowlton, was fired from the department earlier this year. He is expected to be in court on criminal charges resulting from the shooting tomorrow. Dozens of families in Manatee County are still trying to pick up the pieces after last week's torrential storms. The storm hit one neighborhood just after it was rebuilt. Some homeowners are on the hook for thousands of dollars because they didn't have flood insurance. Flood insurance can cost thousands of dollars a year or more for homes in flood zones, but only a couple of $100s for homes that are not.
The flood insurance is just too expensive, especially when they ask you, has it flooded in the past? And you say, yeah, it flooded less than a year ago.
Flood insurance does take 30 days to kick in. The clearing skies seem to be helping the flooding situation near the Myakka River in Venice. However, some streets are still underwater and it is still difficult to get in and out of the area. Sarasota County Emergency Management is monitoring the situation. The river is receding, but it will still be a while before the area dries out.
11, 12 years.
You ever seen anything like this?
This is the worst. We flooded the last couple of years, but nothing like this.
More rain is in the forecast for later this week. Manatee County plans to hand out sandbags again on Friday. They will be available from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Buffalo Creek Park, G.T. Bray Park, Lakewood Ranch Park, Stormwater Ops, and the Rabonia Community Center. Nurses and other medical workers at Venice Hospital claim they are short-staffed and they want the public to know. The National Nurses Organizing Committee says Venice Hospital's new CEO has a track record for not having enough nurses on staff, and it's leading to problems. Roughly a dozen employees gathered today to say the workload may be too much for them to handle.
I'm in there recovering from heart surgery. I want my nurses to be there if I need them. And I feel like if nurses have twice as many people they're in charge of, that might not be happening for Barbara.
The hospital says nursing plans are based on the number of patients and their specific needs. They also say if any staff member has a concern, they should speak up. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office needs your help. The man shown in this video is suspected of stealing iPads from the Walmart located at Mud Rock Circle in Port Charlotte. The suspect claimed he was a law enforcement officer and displayed a Charlotte County Sheriff's Office business card. He drove off in the silver Chevrolet Tahoe. And if you have any information, contact the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. State Senator Bill Galvano is taking another shot at boosting financial aid for college students. Galvano is filing a bill to the state to permanently cover 75% to 100% of all tuition costs for top high school students who attend Florida University or colleges. If it becomes law, it would help about 94,000 students. The legislature passed a similar bill earlier this year, but Governor Rick Scott vetoed it. A sinkhole has opened in Manatee County. Right now, crews are trying to fill the hole on Tuttle Avenue between University Parkway and Talabass Road. It opened up beneath the southbound lane on Tuttle and is about 6 feet wide. Traffic is being diverted around the hole, and crews say a pipe burst from all the rainwater. And Bob, that's what happens.
Yeah, and rain has gone away temporarily. That's a good sign. Some of the rivers and streams slowly subsiding right now. We'll have an update on some of the other rivers beside the Myakka. We are looking at a picture right now that was sent in today. That was this morning, the Lake Ackerman kind of flowing over into the roadway there, and the entrance. Leslie Morton sending this photo in. So it's still up in some areas, but it is slowly receding and receding as a result of some dry air. Flood warning for Myakka River. You can see that is until Saturday at 10:49 when it's expected to go below flood stage. And then we have the Horse Creek. That is expected to go below it at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. And at 10 o'clock or shortly before 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, the Peace River will go below flood stage. The Manatee River at the Myakka Head has gone below the flood stage already. Well, the Harvey is weakening. It's over land. The heavy storms that were around are slowly coming to an end, although it will generate more showers and storms and the potential for some tornadic activity as it makes its way to the northeast. Dry air has moved in across the entire state and the Bahamas, the Florida Straits, down to Cuba, and that is actually lessening our rain chances as far as that goes. Enhanced satellite imagery of what's been going on. You can see those cloud tops are warming now over East Texas and northwestern portions of Louisiana. That's a good thing. Bad thing is the flooding is still occurring throughout that region and will continue to do so for the next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, from the park to the jail to the morgue, are we dealing with the homeless the right way? When we return.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Attention blood thinner users. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke is a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
The ABC7 First Alert Hurricane Guide. Download yours today.
Earlier this month, an inmate in the Sarasota County Jail died. The 33-year-old man was behind bars for allegedly being in a public park after hours. County officials say no foul play was suspected and the cause of the death was believed to be medical in nature. But some wonder if jail is the best place for non-violent, often first-time offenders. ABC's 7's Ray Collins talked to a local circuit court judge leading the way on jail diversion.
we have a big problem.
When Sarasota Judge Erica Quartermain was in law school in Miami, she saw a concept there of approaching people accused of misdemeanors like trespassing or open container issues and finding methods outside of jail time. She brought the Comprehensive Treatment Court to Sarasota last March, and now she says, yes, she is elected to enforce the laws. However,
are there gaps in our system? Yes, there are gaps in our system. It comes from a short-sighted view taken decades ago when we closed mental health institutions and had no backup plan for these people.
So now, from her 9th-story office high inside the Sarasota County Courthouse, Judge Quartermain says since starting this program last March, she had a nearly 70% success rate getting people out of jail and on their feet.
I am thrilled with the success rate, and the statistics are very, very positive. But when I hear the individual stories, it's overwhelming. And to see that a person who lived on the street for 10 years is now in supportive housing and has treatment and feels safe is the best feeling. And I have a lot of those stories already.
Well, I commend her.
Sarasota City Commissioner Hagan Brody has a unique perspective. He's a former prosecutor who admits there are gaps in the system.
We have to enforce the rules. I mean, the police are tasked with enforcing the rules of this community. Our judges and our judiciary sees a need and a gap in services and has really stepped up in a lot of ways to fill that gap, and is doing so with very limited resources, and should be applauded.
Now, the judge doesn't want applause, just perhaps more funding and residential treatment centers, she says. She is in year 1 of a 3-year grant, and she's hoping this comprehensive treatment court will continue to grow.
Yes, absolutely. And the best approach is on a person-by-person basis. There is no one-size-fits-all approach for addressing the needs of the homeless people. You have to look at each person and create a custom plan. And now that we have started that process, it is synergistic and it is taking off, and people are finding homes and they are getting better.
In Sarasota, Ray Collins, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Coming up, is jail the right place for the homeless caught sleeping in the park? The trapezoid is next.
Consumer Cellular makes it easy to stay in touch with family and stay within our budget.
Now our cell phone bill is only a fraction of what it used to be.
Our average customers get everything they need for about $25 a month, and plans start at only $10 a month with no contracts.
Consumer Cellular has a great choice of phones. Check out my new one.
I picked this simple phone. I use my son's old smartphone. Kept my number, too.
Consumer Cellular has been an approved AARP provider since 2008, and members get exclusive discounts.
It's a good thing Consumer Cellular is always there, because sometimes I need a little help.
Sometimes. We're proud to have received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service among non-contract wireless providers.
Over the years, we've seen a lot of change.
We actually use change. Luckily, there are some things we can still afford.
Like Consumer Cellular.
Stop paying too much for wireless service. Switch to Consumer Cellular. And with our 30-day risk-free guarantee, it's easy. Call 1-800-920-3084. Go online or visit a Target store today.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on a pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins.
To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Welcome back. A homeless man is arrested for sleeping in the public park. Hours later, he is found dead in his jail cell. Let's be clear, there is no evidence of foul play. The medical examiner is determining whether a medical issue was the cause of death for 33-year-old Brandon Husky. But there are legitimate questions. Should the homeless be jailed for sleeping in the park? Are there adequate health and mental health screenings at county jails, as well as resources for drug and alcohol addiction? And joining us for more is Circuit Court Judge Erica Quartermain, Susan Nylon, who has been active in the annual homeless count, and James Univer, a professor of criminology at USF Sarasota Manatee. Thank you all for joining us. And I know we can't get into the exact details of this case, but the reason why we're doing this story tonight, because it is somewhat shocking that someone who is arrested for simply sleeping in a public park winds up dead hours later. And it begs the question is, when you are arrested, even for a minor offense, what kind of screenings, health and mental health-wise, are available in the local jails? And Your Honor, you oversee what's going on in these jails. You watch it every day. What is the right procedure?
Well, the sheriff's office oversees what happens in the jail, but I have collaborated with them in order to institute procedures that are recognized nationally and validated in order to best flag those individuals who may be suffering from a mental illness. And when a person is arrested, they are taken to the jail nurse, and they have a physical health screening, and they also have a mental health screening. If there is an indication that that individual needs more screening, and that's what the decision is at that moment, they meet with a licensed person, and then there is more of a diagnosis and more of an evaluation done at that point.
And that would happen off hours any day of the week?
So the initial screening with the jail nurse happens anytime, 24 hours a day, and then each morning the licensed mental health professional goes in for a secondary evaluation if that is necessary.
Susan, you were also involved with the ACLU in the recent lawsuit involving the homeless in Sarasota. We realize things happen. And this may well have been a medical condition. But the ACLU has been concerned about this broader issue for a long time.
Sure, it's how we treat our homeless, how we look at them, and basically that we're criminalizing homelessness. Not you, but we're arresting people for doing something that comes natural, such as sleeping. And when you don't have a home or a place to go or an available shelter, you find a bush or a park bench so you could at least lay your head. I don't think that this gentleman, his circumstance would have been any different if he wasn't found in the park, but the point is that, you know, we're arresting people for doing what comes naturally, and you can't do that.
Professor, when you look at law enforcement agencies around Florida and around the country for that matter, are you seeing different kinds of approaches to this kind of issue?
Yes, I mean, the reality is that police officers have very wide discretion. So ultimately what has to happen is there has to be a policy that basically regulates the discretion that they exercise. The greatest discretion that they have is they can simply not make an arrest, and there's no record of whether they had any involvement with that case whatsoever. So I think for me, one of the things that we would have to look at in this particular case is why was that person even arrested to begin with in the first place? Are there not any other kinds of ways in which they could have avoided an arrest? Could the officer simply ignored it? Could the officer, for example, given a citation? Could he ask them to just move along? What really needs to be looked at is where's this policy that regulates this level of discretion?
Susan, quickly.
You know, one of the things that came out of the lawsuit against the city of Sarasota was that there's beds available for any homeless person who needs to get into the Salvation Army and doesn't have the money. All they have to do is go to a police officer and say, you know, I need to be taken to the Salvation Army.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on the homeless and jail right after we check the First Alert weather, so stay with us.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Our accredited staff will handle all of the Medicare paperwork for free, and best of all, your brace is shipped directly to your home for free. Don't let chronic lower back pain slow you down. Get moving and stay active with a medical-grade back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost. We also accept Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, and other insurance. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace covered by Medicare? Find out for free.
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-715-0835. That's 1-800-715-0835, 1-800-715-0835.
Attention Sarasota and surrounding cities. After 25 years in Sarasota, Bacon's Furniture and Design will be moving to create Southwest Florida's largest and most dynamic furniture store. We must liquidate everything in the store at huge savings as fast as possible. Do not miss this opportunity to purchase quality sofas, bedrooms, dining rooms, patio furniture, mattresses, and more, all at the absolute lowest prices possible. The Bacon's Furniture and Design relocation sell-off. Nobody beats Bacon's.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Our conversation on the homeless in jail continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with meteorologist Bob.
Things have been active in the tropics. 9 named storms now. Harvey, the strongest of all of them, a Category 4 hurricane with 130-mile-an-hour winds as it made landfall. Irma is the next one that has developed out there in the Atlantic. So we'll keep an eye on that. Jose is the one expected to follow after that. So a very active hurricane thus far. We've had 9 named storms, and looking back over the past 100 years, there's only been 6 other seasons that we've seen 9 named storms before August 31st. So a very active season thus far. The Van Wezel webcam showing pretty calm conditions out there in the waters. Hardly any clouds to be found at all around town, and that's a result of dry air and high pressure that's built in over the top of us, and that'll keep us pretty quiet on Thursday too, giving us a chance to dry out here. And even Friday doesn't look too bad, although we'll start to see more showers and storms developing as moisture moves on in. Right now, clear skies over much of the peninsula currently, and Harvey continues to weaken as it's over Louisiana and pushing off to the northeast. Some heavy rains still continue, but not nearly as much as we've seen over the past several days. The heavier storms now in Louisiana, southeast of Shreveport, and East Texas still getting some rainfall there, but dry air around has moved in, and that's a good sign there. They'll give them a chance at least to start to recover somewhat. It'll take a long time, though, for that to happen. A few showers well to the east of our immediate area, pushing off basically to the northwest. As I mentioned, we'll see a little bit more activity on Friday, not so much on Thursday. Chance for a few showers around, but that's a result of this dry air. You can see it through the Bahamas and through the Florida Straits, Cuba up into Florida. That dry air is in place and will stay that way, too, it looks like, through Friday for the most part. As I mentioned, with the weekend, we'll see those storms coming back. The heat index at 98 degrees. There's no cooling storms around, and we have sunshine and 86 degrees. Dew point is really high at 78. Our high and low temperature was 1 degree below average for this time of year. 89 the high, and no rainfall to report for the month now. Looks like we'll end just under 21 inches. The forecast tomorrow does call for a high near 90 with a heat index up near 100 in the afternoon. We will see a slight chance for a few showers, but most of that activity will be inland as the sea breeze develops tomorrow. You'll see a few showers, but to start the day off tomorrow morning looks to be really good. Sunshine, just a few clouds in the afternoon. There's the sea breeze development with a few storms in the interior portion of the state. A better chance of rain comes on Friday with showers and storms developing, and even more so on Saturday and Sunday, as our rain chances will go a little bit above seasonal averages. Now, as far as the enhanced satellite imagery go, you can see that the bright white or the bright tops, the reds are gone now. That indicates the cloud tops aren't as cold as they were, and that means fewer showers around. The forecast continues to take Harvey off to the northeast. Top winds are at 40, expected to be downgraded to a tropical depression by probably 11 o'clock advisory. And then that low pressure will track through Tennessee, Kentucky, and up into portions of the southern tip of Ohio there. Well, here's our next named storm. It's Irma. It's way out there in the Atlantic. Lots can happen with this as it makes its way off to the west. Over the next 5 days, it'll be well east of the islands here in the Caribbean, but notice that little drop down to the south on this cone. This one will be very interesting to watch in about 2 weeks from now. Could be a significant problem for the U.S. 65 in Boston now. It's 108 in Phoenix. Big contrast there. 87 into Dallas. For boaters tomorrow, seas running 2 to 3 feet. There'll be a light chop out there in the bays and inland waters. The water temperature now at 88 degrees. High tide upcoming 10:36, and a low tide will be at 2:16. The forecast tonight, mostly fair and warm, 78 for your low. That's a little bit above average. Mostly sunny, hot tomorrow, high at 92. And the extended forecast, our rain chances bumping up on Friday to 50%. And a little bit more activity over the weekend. Labor Day looks good, partly cloudy, with a 40% chance for storms. We'll be right back after this.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 1-800-468-1930. Go online or visit a Target store today.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Welcome back. Is there a better way to deal with the homeless caught sleeping in the park than just sending them to jail? Joining us for more is Circuit Court Judge Erica Quartermain, Susan Nylon, who has been active in the annual homeless count, and James Univer, a professor of criminology at USF Sarasota and Manatee. One of these new programs, one of these alternatives is pre-booking diversion. Your Honor, could you explain what that is and how we're starting to use that in Sarasota?
Well, there is a pre-booking and a post-booking diversion. So the program, Comprehensive Treatment Court, is a post-booking diversion. So once an individual is arrested and identified as having a serious mental illness without the ability to meet a basic need, which many of the homeless fall into that category. And if they are flagged and they are willing to participate, they are diverted from jail on an expedited basis, and they are in the program, during which time they will receive a short-term triage plan to see what their needs are, and then start a long-term plan for housing and mental health stability.
Now, I understand it's only just now getting started in Sarasota itself. Has it been used elsewhere, and if so, what have been the results?
So this is modeled off of the Miami program, which began years and years ago, and the results of that program have been amazing. They closed a jail in Miami, and understanding that the county is significantly larger than Sarasota, they closed a jail and that housed 2,000 people. So Miami really was on the front line of this issue, and the larger metropolitan areas in Florida are seeing it more lagged, like Hillsborough, Jacksonville, and places like Sarasota. So now we're basically copying what Miami did.
You know, there are probably a couple of schools of thought here. There are a lot of people who are watching this tonight who are probably saying, we don't want to see the homeless on our streets, in our parks. There's been a particular issue with that here locally. On the other hand, is it fair to put our law enforcement agencies, whether it's the police department or the sheriff's office, in a position where they are social service agencies? Because after all, they are law enforcement agencies.
Well, I mean, the first word is serve. And so I would think that a primary role of the police department is crime prevention, as well as it is to basically do something after the crime has occurred. So if the police are doing, if you wish, social work, but the reality is that they're reducing crime, it seems to me that the function has been served, and that is that they're protecting our community. And so I don't see a problem with that. I just want to mention one other thing, that what the judge was referring to is pre and post, that what the city of Sarasota is doing, I think is probably even an equally viable way to go, because they have an outreach team within the city.
The HAT team.
Yes, and I think that that model is going to prevent this person from dying in the jail, because that city police officer then works with that person on a one-to-one basis as a social worker, if you wish, and that person doesn't end up being arrested, avoids all the costs involved in that, and ends up being in with all the services that are available within the city of Sarasota.
Of course, in the situation we were initially referring to, there's a lot that we don't know. We don't know about that gentleman's history and whether or not police at the time thought that they had given him enough warnings, they had reached out so many times, and that there was no other alternative. But Susan, I want to get to something. You know, obviously the sheriff's office is not here tonight. They declined to take part in this, but they did provide us with a statement that goes to another issue. The sheriff's office says it is able to help recovering addicts while they are incarcerated because they don't have access to their supply and are forced to detox. It is the critical time post-release when these individuals are the most vulnerable and need the most guidance. And if the treatment gap is not addressed, I don't see an end for this epidemic. That's coming from the sheriff. You've talked to the sheriff about this.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that statement, and the sheriff has gone on record numerous times of how we need to have a shelter, how we need to have a better support system, and whereas I agree that they are performing a certain social service, they're not really trained to perform that social service. We need people that are educated and skilled in just handling that. So yes, when you do release someone, they have a support network to go to from the jail. Otherwise, where do they go? They go to what they're most comfortable with, back on the street, back with their friends, you know, and it's a cycle that repeats itself. So the sheriff has made it extremely clear that he's willing to take responsibility for a shelter and put it under his jurisdiction if we would only have the courage to do so.
Well, obviously our area's had its share of fits and starts when dealing with this issue.
That's pretty generous.
You know, in recent months, the county and the city have said that they have begun a new working relationship and they will come up with some answers. But Your Honor, where are we along in terms of this process? Because this is a problem that has been pretty bad in our area for such a long time. your programs and your grants are going a long way in terms of trying to address it, but in and of itself, it's not enough.
No, it's not enough. But we have made a lot of headway over the last 3 years. I think that there has been a paradigm shift in how we are going to approach this problem, and a lot of things have fallen into place. I see the community coming together. We need to continue to do that. I see law enforcement taking a different stand as to folks who fall into the homeless category. I see more and more services becoming available. So I think that we're headed in the right direction, and obviously there is still a lot of work to be done.
Professor, I ask this question all the time. Are there any other communities out there who are doing it better in terms of handling homelessness and mental health and jail situations?
Not that I mean, we have a lot of diversion programs that other communities don't have. I think what the other communities have that we don't have is a sense of coalition and support. And so that if you isolate any of these systems, no one system can solve this problem. So what other communities have that we don't have is everybody on the same page. So if you have all these basic territorial fights, and people are dying in the jail from whatever reason, they're not getting the health care that they need, that becomes a cataclysmic event.
Susan, you have had your finger on the pulse of this community for a long time. So why is this?
Why is what? Why do we know?
Why has this community lacked that cohesive approach to this problem?
Oh, yeah. First of all, we are working towards having a better connectivity between the sources. The Gulf Coast Community Foundation has worked very hard at connecting everybody, even from a computer standpoint. So you don't get those people who either fall through the cracks or, on the other hand, work the system. But we are a community of transients, in a sense, not just at the homeless level, but an upper level. When you have a community that is built on snowbirds who are only committed to this town part-time of the year, and then they go back home, it's really difficult to get them to have a clear understanding. But yet when they come, it's that resort mentality that they want to see. And so therefore their reaction is truly a knee-jerk reaction to what their concerns are. But it's the people who, like us, who have been around for a very long time are able to remind people what we need to do. And I want to point out with Judge Quartermain's program, it may be small and infant in its start, but that sent out such a big signal to our community that people started to have a different outlook on how we treat our homelessness and what we can do for it.
Your Honor, in terms of that program, in terms of resources, you have temporary funding for it. What are the chances that you're going to get more help from the state or other organizations in terms of keeping this going and in fact expanding it to help more people?
I think we are going to have an excellent prospect of being able to expand it and keep it going, because what we're going to see in a year is the cost savings. And when an individual who is in the comprehensive treatment court is one of the individuals who has been identified as costing, through crisis stabilization services, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars over 3 or 4 years, and now they're in the program and their overhead is maybe $30,000 a year, and they have a plan with wraparound services. They're going to see the cost savings, and it is a cost shifting to dealing with issues on the front end instead of letting them spiral out of control and having it 10 times more expensive,
and costing taxpayers even more money.
Right.
All right, thank you very much. We have to take a quick break, and we'll come back with final thoughts after we return.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get Debt-Free Now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251, 800-628-1251.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812, 800-738-9812.
Explore amazing merchants on the Suncoast. Find great prices, products, and services. Go to mysuncoast.com to buy local today. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
New ways to deal with the homeless charged with petty crimes. Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And Professor, you were saying you grew up in Sarasota, so
I went to high school.
And you all were saying to me before, it wasn't always like this.
No. No, I mean, when I was in high school, I can't remember anybody even talking about homeless people. There used to be the moorings, and there'd be derelict boats, and that would be the closest thing, but downtown. But there wasn't really a concentrated downtown where people would come and hang out in the inner city, so to speak. So if there was homeless, it wasn't nearly as visible.
And the police are only responding to what the public wants in terms of their, at some point the public's really started, complaining about the number of people who were on the streets and in the parks.
But the reality is when someone dies in the jail, that's someone's son, no one wants to come out of a jail in a casket. And so maybe something like this can, galvanize even the people that have little concern, because it's not right for people to end up being arrested for sleeping in a park and end up coming out of there in a casket. And so I would hope that seriousness of an event would potentially get people to move.
Susan, do you have any renewed confidence that our area in general is going to come up with a more cohesive approach?
Oh, geez, Alan, thanks for the easy questions.
We're not talking about politics tonight.
No, that's true. Sometimes this is worse. I would say that as long as it doesn't become a public issue, people like Judge Quartermain will get the job done. When we start making it political, we start focusing on it, and we start worrying about it, that's when it slows the process down. And I am encouraged to hear that the city and the county are going to start working together again, and hopefully it'll mean something.
And Your Honor, I want to give you the last word. When do you expect to see results of the program that you're putting into place?
Well, we have some preliminary results, and that is that 70% of the people who came through the program were successful or expected to be successful, meaning they have stayed out of trouble, they are in a stable residence, and they have a long-term plan for mental health and finances with it.
I want to thank you all for joining us tonight, but before we go, we want to share with you what some of folks are saying about last night's topic, President Trump's plan to slash legal immigration to the U.S. Trump's plan would have prevented many of our parents and grandparents from entering the country. It cuts legal immigration in half by 2027. Under the plan, no English means no entry into the United States, and even if you do speak English, it doesn't mean you're getting into the country. You also need to have advanced skills and education. Jones says the assumption that the best and brightest people in the world speak English is not only factually incorrect, but arrogant beyond comprehension. The refusal of English illiterate immigrants just may filter out folks who would be widely successful or bring innovation to American shores. Sam says open border folks are fine with immigrants taking other people's jobs, but never seem to offer them their own jobs to immigrants. Where's the compassion? Catherine says you should have the skills to provide for yourself and add to the country. to the good of the country, also, but willing to assimilate, not demand the country change for you. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. FYI, you could also watch past discussions. They're on demand on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Circuit Court Judge Eric Quartermain, Susan Nylon, who has been active on the homeless issue, and James Univer, a professor of criminology at USF Sarasota Manatee. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather, plus an update on all the damage done in Texas from Hurricane Harvey. Stay with us.
Love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
Call to see if you qualify to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan right now. At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book and DVD. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. Call 1-800-558-8779.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A pretty nice evening taking shape here along the Sun Coast. Had a lot of sunshine today. Temperatures managed to get it to near 90, and not many clouds out there, not many cooling storms either, but we could use the lack of rain. It's been kind of wet, you might say, and it's been unbelievably wet here in Texas. Historic proportions as far as the rainfall goes. Looks like it's going to be right there at 52 inches total, just east of the Houston area before it's all said and done. It continues to wind up, and now that it's over land, it is losing some of its punch in terms of drawing a lot of moisture into Louisiana at this point. There's some showers there, a few storms, but not the torrential rain we've seen over the past 4 days. Some rain still occurring, though, just to the northeast of Houston. No rain around here along the coast, a few showers well inland, and that's going to be the case again, I think, tomorrow. There'll be a few showers scattered about, maybe a little closer to the coast as the sea breeze develops, but most of the action should be inland, pushing away from the coast later on in the day. By the time we get to Friday, we'll start to see a better chance for some showers and storms, and especially over the weekend. Well, the satellite imagery showing dry air has moved in and really shut down the cloud cover across the entire peninsula at this point. On top of the dry air, we have high pressure, which is building in as well in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That's sinking air. You need lift in order to get clouds to form. And there's that dry air I mentioned pushing off toward the southwest. Currently, it's clear. It's 86 degrees, and the feels like temperature at 98. Winds are out of the west at 6, the pressure 2999, which is high. And as far as the temperatures go, currently it's 90 in Orlando, 90 in Miami. Temperatures in the mid-80s right there near the coastline. A little bit warmer as you push inland. 86 in Inglewood, Northport, you're at 88. Venice, 86 degrees. The water temperature during the height of the storm here was down to 83 degrees. It's bounced back up to 88 at this point. And as far as the tropics are concerned, we have a newly formed tropical storm, the 9th named storm of the season, way out there in the Atlantic, and the top winds are already up to 60 miles an hour. I suspect this will be a hurricane as early as tomorrow morning, and you can see the forecast path and track. One thing I don't like about it, it takes this little jog back toward the southwest, and that means a hurricane center is thinking that a high pressure is going to build to the north of it, and it may carry it more on a westerly course once it gets past 5 days from now. So there's another long-range model, by the way, get this, that is developing a storm in the Caribbean, in the Gulf of Mexico, and then moving it toward Texas late next week. So that would be devastating if we saw something like that again. Harvey, as I mentioned, is winding down as it pushes off to the northeast at around 8 miles an hour. Well, for boaters tomorrow, it looks like this. Winds will be fairly light, anywhere from 5 to 10 knots. We'll start out of the east and then turn to the southwest late in the day. A light chop on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature 88 degrees. Sunset in just a few minutes from now. Days are getting shorter. Sunrise will be at 7:09. High tide just coming after 10:30. Mostly fair, warm tonight, 78 for a low. No real threat of any rain. Tomorrow, rain chance not all that high, 20% and a high of 92. The extended forecast is calling for a much better chance for scattered storms on Friday. More so on the weekend, working back toward the coast. Labor Day looks good, 40% chance for those typical afternoon and evening storms. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
Attention blood thinner users. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. The widely prescribed blood thinners Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to a number of dangerous side effects, including internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney bleeding, stroke, brain hemorrhaging, and even death. If you or a loved one suffered any of these injuries after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
40 million. That's the number of free phones still available and the number of how many Americans can still get prescriptions free.
Free could be wonderful.
That's why I'm still working at 77 years old to pay off my prescriptions.
I needed to have a prescription filled and I had to leave because I couldn't afford it.
Call now and see what's available for you. Free prescriptions. Over 10 million people get prescriptions free, and the program has expanded so another 40 million can. Free dental. Over 15,000 dentists have provided over $330 million in free dental work. Free cell phones. 40 million free cell phones are still available with free minutes and more.
Free cell phone would change my life right now because it is something I cannot afford to get.
Medical supplies like back braces, knee braces, and diabetic supplies may be covered too. The free RX Plus hotline has saved callers over $12 million on their prescription costs. These free programs are now available to 40 million more people. Call now.
Checking our primetime headlines, we begin in southeastern Texas, where the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is in Houston with more.
Relentless downpours as Harvey moves northeast, now burying areas along the Texas-Louisiana border under fast-rising floodwaters. People and pets pulled to safety by first responders and selfless strangers back out in their own boats today, saving lives.
They'll just keep bringing boatloads of people out to the truck. We'll load them up and we'll get them out of the area.
And still more rescues back in hard-hit Houston. The sky is now clear here, but water is still inundating homes. An estimated 30% of this county, 1,700 square miles, now flooded.
People that are calling out, people have been stranded for days.
And with the water receding in some places, the death toll from this monstrous storm is climbing. Police finding the 6 family members who died when their van was swept away.
Our worst fears have been realized.
Today, evacuations in Port Arthur, Texas, at this nursing home where officials say patients waited in the water for 24 hours, and at this shelter.
Water is coming in from every angle. It's coming in from the bathroom. It's coming in from the back door, the front door.
More than 32,000 people are now living in shelters in Texas. From this overcrowded convention center to churches and mosques, some are reaching capacity.
There is still room at this shelter where they're not calling the people staying here evacuees. Instead, they're referring to them as guests or neighbors, doing all they can to try to make people feel as comfortable as possible. So many people are showing up here to help, they've had to turn volunteers away. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Houston.
24 hours ago, we told you how Houston, Texans defensive end J.J. Watts raised over $3 million to help victims of Hurricane Harvey. A day later, it is $6 million. He started raising money on Sunday with a goal of $200,000, but Watts isn't taking any credit.
It's not me. I'm just the one organizing it. It's all these people donating. It's all these volunteers. It's all the firefighters and policemen and citizens out helping each other. I'm just a guy who's trying to organize it all and make sure that we do whatever we can and use my platform as best I can to organize it.
Watts' new goal, $10 million. President Trump is apparently at odds with his Secretary of State when it comes to North Korea. The president tweeting the U.S. has been talking to North Korea and paying them extortion money for 25 years. Talking is not the answer. But this Sunday, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the U.S. will keep up its, quote, peaceful pressure campaign to bring North Korea to the negotiating table. It is also not clear what the president meant by extortion money. Previous administrations have provided North Korea with humanitarian assistance. Defense Secretary James Mattis also apparently not on the same page as the president. Secretary Mattis was hosting South Korea's defense minister at the Pentagon. He was asked if the U.S. was out of diplomatic solutions. He said simply, no.
We're never out of diplomatic solutions. We continue to work together, and the minister and I share a responsibility to provide for the protection of our nations, our populations, and our interests, which is what we are here to discuss today.
This marks two big government officials who have stressed the importance of diplomacy with North Korea. President Trump was in Missouri Wednesday talking tax reform. He said he wants to, quote, bring back Main Street by reducing the tax burden on companies and workers. Trump states he wants lower taxes and called out Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill. Trump said that she should lower taxes for the Missouri citizens, and if she doesn't, then she should be voted out of office.